Hi, I'm Grace Baroni, and welcome to Conversations with the ERC5. Today, I am so excited to have with us Michael Laviolette, Doctor of Physical Therapy, health coach, and business owner at Evolve. Michael, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me on,
So
Grace.
happy to have you with us here today because there's lots for us to talk about. So let's get started. If you could just share with us your journey to Evolve Health. How did that come to be?
Yeah, so graduated PT school, got my doctorate in physical therapy, went and specialized in orthopedics, and physical therapy is largely a reactive field. Well, when I got back from California and the lockdowns happened, my dad ended up passing away, and he was a great dad, great provider, a great husband, very competitive in his business, but one thing he didn't really focus on was his health. And I think if he did, he'd still be here with us today. And I decided that we really needed something to reduce the risk of things like that happening. It felt like we were too reactive and not proactive enough.
Absolutely. And that resonates for me. Anyhow, and I think for a lot of us, because we've always been reactive. When something happens, then that's when we try to fix it. But what about if we became more proactive? We're all living longer. So if we start earlier and we think about how we're going to maintain our health and our bodies, isn't that so much better for everyone, right? We're stronger, we're healthier, we're living more vibrant lives.
We are, yeah. And, when you mention our lifespan, we do have a lifespan, but we also have a health span. And sometimes that health span doesn't last quite as long as the lifespan. So if your lifespan is here and your health span is here, you have this area of life where you're just not living a high quality of life.
Right.
And if we got out in front of things, exercise, nutrition, sleep hygiene, stress management, if we took care of those things beforehand, we'd have that longer health span.
And that's, you touched again on everything that I'm concerned about. And I think, well, I'm a 63-year-old woman, and I want to make sure that I can still do all the things I used to do, and that I'm able to be active and healthy and engaged. And there sure are a whole lot of moving pieces to keeping me moving. Like my knees all of a sudden started talking back to me rather loudly. They don't like running, 13 miles on the weekend anymore. But I still want to be able to run. I want to be able to do a 5K or a 10K with still keeping with good times. So how do I prepare? How do I get my body to adjust to some of the things that are slowing down, but still keep it moving and keep myself healthy and engaged and active? How are you going to help me with all of these things?
Yeah. So, if you're at the level of running half marathons, there's quite a bit more that goes into it, right? And so you have some knee pain that we can address with exercise, and nutrition actually plays into that quite a bit, if you're feeling pain. But if we're bringing you to the level of a half marathon, there's so many things that go into it. For as far as the training for a marathon, we're talking about 3 phases, right, at least.
Yes.
And then the nutrition to support it along the way. So those are some really big things. I think a big thing is that people just need to move. Now, I don't know how long your knees have been barking at you and what your activity level was before that. But, that's one thing that we do is we meet people where they're at. Hey, if you're ready to run a marathon, we can take you through those phases. If you're just starting to exercise, it's not something you've done for a long time or you haven't done at all, we'll meet you there.
So do you help me combine an exercise routine? So I've got that plan, because that was the thing. I always had my little, you check off your Monday, you've done so many miles, you've done this. But do you help me coordinate like a lifelong plan to keep me strong and healthy, and then guide me with what I should be eating? Because that's something I'm noticing as I get older. It's like, oh, I need more protein. And I think when my knees were barking at me, it might have been because of my diet and what I was neglecting to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we're talking about protein specifically, there are recommendations from the World Health Organization, and they're way lower than what they really need to be when we look at science now and research. So, that's one of the things that we do is we do guide you in nutrition. We give you that exercise plan. And like I said, we really meet you where you're at. So someone who's running a half marathon, their exercise plan is going to be a bit more than if you're just starting, right? So we do give you that. And part of how we hold people accountable is we use an app, and we're able to see whether you're doing the things or not.
I wondered about that. It was like, how will he know if I'm adhering to what you've given me? And obviously you would become aware of it, but I didn't realize there was an app involved. So there is that accountability, which we all need. At least I think so. When there's someone, it's like if you decide to go for a run in the morning, but you're going by yourself, you might just talk yourself out of it. It's too hot, get back into bed. But if, Mary's waiting for me, now I'm accountable. I've got to get there and meet her because I said I would do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's one of the things is if you tell somebody who you look up to or, your teacher, you want to be, you want to impress the teacher or make sure that you're doing the things that the teacher asks you to do. It's very similar. And, one of the things that we do in the app is gamify it. So if you're doing the things, it's green. If you're not doing the things, it's red. And when you're doing things and you see that they're green, it gives you a bit of a reward. And we see in research that people are very rewarded when they're winning the game. So that's
absolutely
that's a big part of what we do to help people win in the game of fitness and health.
I love it. So something that I've heard you talk about is just being, you mentioned it here earlier, being proactive. And also about how when we are at our best, we're then able to give our best to those around us. And I really love that. And it is so true. When you're feeling great about yourself, it reflects.
It does, yeah. And it's like a cycle, right? Like you don't have the energy to exercise, right? But if you don't exercise, then you don't have energy. And when you don't have that energy, you're less focused and productive at work. You don't have as much to give your family and the people that deserve it. You can't do all of you can do the errands that you're supposed to do throughout the day, but it's a real drag at the end of the day. And if you're doing these things, like you already feel a boost of energy when you start, but if you're doing them for a long time and you're seeing really good results, it's like you look back and you don't even realize how you felt until you're in this new place of health. Right. So yeah, it's really important for those reasons.
I think it's a win-win. And I'm just sitting here thinking, truly, when you do exercise, it starts your day off right and you are more productive, which then makes me think, oh my gosh, so our business owners out there, you've got employees and so forth. What better way to help them be more productive than to have you come in and just kind of guide them through the importance of, maybe even just a 15-minute exercise in the morning to get you going.
Yeah, and that's something that we see is employee retention increases, employee productivity increases, focus increases, and this is all stuff that we see in research. So yes, employees are generally happier when they do have those wellness incentives in place. Absolutely.
That's me. Seriously, I stop and think about it. And on some days, it's like, how come I've got such a full day, but I managed to get through it? And you're in a better place. You know, when things go wrong, it just slides. It's like, okay, so we move on to plan B. And then there's those other days where it's like, oh, everything seems to bring you down. And then you're like, oh, you know what? I do better when I get up early and go for a walk or a run.
Yeah.
Or get on the bike or something, but you do better.
You do better. You do better. And, you know, I always tell my clients that something is better than nothing. But, you know, this was another reason that I started Evolve Health, right? My dad did not, you know, he didn't have a lot of extra time. So he didn't have time to meet someone at 5:30 at the gym. I don't think he would have anyways. He didn't want to go to physical therapy at 6:30 at night. You know, he was going to be on a conference call with someone in California. So what we do allows people to have a little more freedom about when they're going to do their exercise and their fitness and their nutrition. So that's a huge reason that we started. And I think it's really important for people to be able to be consistent with what they're doing.
Yeah. And we need to make ourselves a priority. We forget that.
We do.
Sometimes.
Yeah. It's easy to push off, you know, when you have all these other responsibilities and you're giving to them. It's easy to just put yourself last. But you know, I think it's a disservice to yourself and the people that you care for. And I would say, you know, taking that time for yourself isn't selfish. I think it's selfless.
I like that. So I was going to say, so as a health coach, though, is that part of what you do and provide, like kind of picking us up and helping us to evolve into the best that we can be? Because some days it's easier than others. And then there are those days where you need, I think, someone like you kind of in the back of my head reminding me that make time for yourself and all this.
Yeah. Yeah, it is important, right? And sometimes we have to have those calls where it's like, all right, and there'll be different kind of calls, right? There'll sometimes be a call where I'm seeing things not getting done, and what I'm hearing on the other side is someone is beat down, right? And they're having difficulty. And in that case, we can navigate their schedule, make sure that it fits in with their schedule. And sometimes it's someone that just hasn't been doing what they're supposed to be doing, and in the conversations a little more, well, you know, is this really important to you? And, you know, usually it's like, yes, this is important to me. It's important to be there for my family and for the ones that I love. And I know that when I do these things, I'm better for everybody. Yeah.
That's awesome. I wish we could talk forever because I want to go on and on about so many other things. So we'll have to do a part 2. But for today, for those who are watching and want to learn more about the services that you provide and how you can help them on this journey to evolving and to being the best that we can be, how can they get in touch with you?
They can go to my website, EvolveHealthPT.org. They can reach me on social media. They can email me at mike@evolvehealthpt.com.
Wonderful. Mike, thank you so much for being here with us today. This was fabulous.
Thanks so much, Grace, for having me.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us for today's Conversations with the ERC5. If you'd like to be the next guest here at Stonegate Studios in Wilbraham, go to our website. You can sign up there, and we look forward to having you here with us.